Hey guys, how's it going? All right. So I was thinking about this the other day, and I figured if there's a show I'm gonna watch in anything, let's see if I can just record it. And so one of the things that I do watch is Death Battle. I watched all of them, so I'm probably not gonna go back and watch any of the previous ones. However, I figured why don't I just get started on the whatever pops up now. So the first one looks like it's Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner, and I know none of these two people, so well, what a good one to start, I guess. But anyway, yeah, yeah, I figured, why not? Let's give these a shot. But yeah, so Simon the Digger, it looked like it's from a place called Gurren Lagann. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that right. I have no idea. And then Kyle Rayner looks like he's a White Lantern, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see that. I don't know much about the lanterns. Obviously, the green ones are the most popular ones, but yeah, definitely interested in seeing what happens, and I'll try to give a guess as to who I think I'll win based on what we see. Anyway, guys, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. Really does help me out. All right, let's get started. All right.
Simone the Digger. Kyle
Oh,
Rayner,
Simone.
the White
Wow, I
Lantern.
already messed up the
Two men
name.
born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills
Simon,
to find
wow.
out who would win a death battle. Deep underground, Jiha Village lived in dreary isolation, oblivious to the wider world above their squalid cave.
That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty. Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simone. He was there too, I guess.
Simone was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt, until the day he found the core.
Well, I can probably pause it real quick. Okay, so um, height age 21, height 6'2". Wow, he's tall. I'm about 6 feet, so he's a digger, supreme commander, pilot, hermit. Pronounce. Oh yeah, Simone. Is a mangaka in another universe. Do not know what that means. Inspired by Captain Harlock. Do not know him. Likes and dislikes. Okay.
Or drill.
A key that activated the mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagan. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark.
But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina
cool.
would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren.
And as befits Kamina and Simone's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagan merged, creating Gurren Lagan.
With Kamina piloting the body and Simone the head, these two were unstoppable.
Of
Oh,
all
interesting.
the giant
Like a cool little
fighting
mech.
robots in all the animes across history,
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by
Oh,
its
really?
pilot's willpower and capable of making any weapon
Oh, okay. Now I was also wondering what the connection might be between him and the White Lantern. Okay. Runs on willpower. There we go. Drills, missiles, sunglasses, boomerang, energy blast. Okay.
imagine.
Including missiles, a jetpack, a sunglasses boomerang, and of course,
Drills! Wrist-mounted drills, kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha drills, and everyone's
cool.
favorite, the Giga Drill Bureku! Side note, it is so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality. What up?
with Gurren Lagan's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome.
Until Kamina died. Oh, wait, shit, was that supposed to happen?
Nope, and it was all Simone's fault. He let his
Oh,
willpower
no.
waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at
Oh,
home in
wow.
the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit.
So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simone who believes in you. Damn.
Kamina was the
Huh?
one looking up to him the whole time. It
Oh,
was
wow.
Simone who found Logon, Simone who pierced the surface, and Simone who would now lead humanity to victory.
Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick
Mhm.
Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked.
Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the Spiral Nemesis.
Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all
Oh, wow,
spiral
spiral
beings
power?
like humans have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah.
Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the
Oh,
perfect
wow.
representation of humanity's evolutionary potential.
Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy.
Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simone can create portals to different realities and higher
Oh, wow.
dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
Okay, that's a lot. Crap. Force fields, city size, moon, super galaxy. Oh, wow. So there's like different mechs, I guess. Oh, it evolves. Okay.
Force
Crazy.
fields absorb energy attacks and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
Creating the Arc
Super
Gurren
Tengen.
Lagann, which is
Wow,
strong enough to shatter
crazy.
space and time with a punch.
Or the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimensions, all within a Planck instant.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the smallest unit of time physically possible.
Meaning each laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's
I
history.
was gonna say, is that
Congratulations,
fastest?
Gurren Lagann.
In-
Move
besides
over,
Infinity?
SpongeBob, you've been dethroned. Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes.
Oh, wow.
You literally cannot calculate how fast that is.
But it wasn't enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap, the multiverse labyrinth. An attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting
Oh, wow.
him in a dream world.
Except Simone and his spiral power are just built different. And after being inspired by his bro, Simone absorbed that whole multiverse to escape.
What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional, meaning Simone absorbed
Oh, wow.
a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope.
What?
Oh, we're just
What-
getting
yeah,
started.
exactly, what?
Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person.
Okay. That's not too far off from what actually happened.
Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real, adding
Oh, wow.
another to the mix.
Wait, if every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit?
This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy. Like, shooting missiles that alter probability so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or
Oh, wow.
tossing galaxies around like frisbees. Sorry, did I say galaxies? I meant universes.
Simon's power was so immense that he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe.
With it, Simone turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place.
Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate
Oh, nice.
any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Like when Lord Genome used spiral power to survive quantum breakthrough breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the
This is
universe,
so
used
confusing,
spiral power to
jeez.
constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information in physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have
Wow.
spiral power whiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back?
When even this was not enough for the anti-spiral, Simone evolved one more time.
Wow.
Into Super Tengen Topa Gurren Lagann!
This mech is so big, its size is literally incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simone and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the
Wow.
universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simone's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens.
Became the Simone that believed in him, pulled the moon back into orbit, struck all of space-time at once, absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, withstood the infinity Big Bang storm, shadowed a drill trillions of light years long, defeated viral four supreme generals, Lord Genome, and the anti-spiral. Wow. So
With
much.
no more worlds left to conquer, Simone chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up.
Huh?
For all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
Jeez, I never even heard of this
The
anime.
universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps. They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You know him. You love him. You might hate him. But you gotta respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged
Oh, wow.
through the core, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There was only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So, was Kyle picked for his indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just there. He had no
Yeah, that's how it works half the time, right? He was just there. Okay, he's 30, 5'11", 175. He's an artist. Nice. Has other names. Ah, Enemy of Heat.
idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat,
Oh,
and
wow.
a sentient box can master it, what's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern
Right?
ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle stretched the
Yeah,
very
I
fabric
can't even
of
read all that stuff. So just do quick ones. Fly, invisibility, intangibility, mind reading, reality warps. Yeah, constructs, resistances. Okay, cool.
space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the speed
Oh,
force
wow.
requires entering a higher dimension of space.
That's right, the Flash
requiring
stuff.
speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Poozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled by its
Oh,
user's
wow.
willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's
Right.
speciality.
samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or
Oh,
hold
wow.
back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 0.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though.
That was so
when one of
fast. Hold
Kyle's
on.
Villains brutally murdered his manifestation of Kyle.
Regarded by the others as a major player, he described himself as the rookie, insecure knowing that he wasn't selected as a Green Lantern like his predecessor, inheriting the ring instead of a twist of fate. Okay. Okay. So he kind of just beat himself up for basically just getting lucky and getting the ring.
Self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her
Wow.
body in a fridge.
Kyle
Oh my
wasn't
God.
the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female characters
Wow.
are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally
Oh, wow.
got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors,
Oh,
each
wow.
representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind.
Oh,
The
crazy!
more
So this
scared
dude
you are
knows
of him,
all.
the
Will have the abilities of all of them, in a sense. Wow, that's insane.
stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle
Oh,
only
crazy.
mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other Lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness
Oh,
the
wow.
energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the source and acquired the life equation. Essentially the source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter
Oh, wow.
all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The life equation, like its counterpart, the anti-life equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled
Yeah,
to control it.
this is like
and
OP.
It subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness
Oh, wow.
was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always
I mean, he
rose
earned
to
it at
the
this point.
occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And together, they
Oh, wow.
shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
Aw. Wow, crazy.
Hey, remember Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia? No? Well, that's because it was
Skip the
taken off
commercials.
YouTube for being too anime. But
It's time.
Okay. Crap. Damn it. I was actually gonna go with Simone on this one, but the White Lanterns just seem crazy strong. Uh, damn it. But Gurren's so the thing will probably be that Gurren can, it's not Gurren Lagann, but Simone was able to come back from like a crazy reality bending thing, but that may have taken time, so I can't tell. Um, you know what? I'm gonna stick to Simone. Let's stick to Simone and see what happens. I may or may not track how good I'm gonna be with my guesses anyway. So let's go, Simone.
Time for a death battle!
Called the boomerang.
All right, I'm not rusty at all.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are?
Oh, that's funny. It's Balrog.
I'm told I'm bad with authority.
Tell me about it. 4!
Nice.
That's nothing! My drill will pierce the heavens! Take a toe for Gurren Lagann! That's really
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
I'm a digger.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
Now you know. I'm Simone the Digger.
Yeah, it's already getting crazy.
I'll sit down.
Wow. Oh, okay, cool. He turned white. Okay.
Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future.
Aw.
Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that believes in you.
Super Tekken Topa Gurren Lagann! My drill is the drill that will transcend the heavens! Giga Drill!
So yeah, let's see what happens. Oh wow, drill against drill.
the super weapon wasn't your mech.
It was me.
Then, Simone.
Oh, nice.
I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern fly!
Wow.
Let's see you grit those teeth!
Nice.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simon of Earth, you have been
Oh.
chosen.
Oh.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Nice.
KO!
Whew.
The guy with the snazzy sunglasses.
When both combatants possess unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our
Yeah.
normal standards. Take speed. Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and
Oh,
their
nice.
ultimate potential.
First up, imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
Yeah.
In general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal,
Yeah.
which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves the other main
Oh,
factor for
interesting.
both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember, each numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to close the gap with Kyle, especially since
Oh, wow.
spiral power also lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge. Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did.
Oh, wow.
While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as
Oh,
much a
okay.
detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all
Oh,
of
nice.
Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren
Oh,
Lagann
huh.
in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight,
Wow.
because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner
Oh,
is
wow.
Simone the Digger.
Next time on
Oh, who's
Death
next?
Battle.
Oh, Roadrunner? Or Wiley? Oh, that's funny.
Subscribe and join as a member to see.
Nice. That was actually really cool. Okay, cool. Yay. Now I probably should start counting since I got my first one right. Yeah, no, really interesting. Yeah, I had no, I mean, I didn't know anything about the two, so I just figured Simone maybe just because it's an anime I hadn't heard of, it's kind of like an out there one, and I'm like, wow, and just the magnitude of how much grander his stuff just kept getting. I'm like, this guy seems crazy, but the stuff Kyle was can do too is also insane. So it did really feel like a coin toss. But yeah, this was fun. So I'll probably continue doing these going forward. Again, I probably won't watch any of the older ones because I've already watched them, unfortunately. But yeah, this was a good one. All right, guys, see you next time. Bye.